Existential food. What does that mean? A lot of people get confused when I tell them you're not training in existential food. They say, what is existential food? What does that mean? Well, we don't give the dogs breakfast, lunch, and dinner when we're doing obedience training. The food is money for the dog. And if the dog wants the money, the dog needs to work. How can the dog work? Well, you'll get money if you sit, you get money if you're down, you get money if I call your name and you recall to me, you get money if you're walking nicely on the leash. So you're developing a payment system for the dog that the dog finds an advantage in and would want to love to do the behavior so he can receive his existential food. Not treats or anything like that. Whatever the dog is supposed to get for the day, you want to create dopamine. You don't want the dog to know what you have. So, for example, I have a training vest. One side I have boring kibble. Another side I have shredded chicken, shredded beef, leftovers, maybe a spoon with a little bit of peanut butter on it. Maybe I have bone broth that I use to encourage the dog to do the behaviors that I want, and I want him to do the behaviors again. So throughout the day is an opportunity to receive money. If you have the lifestyle where you give the dog free money, he wakes up, he gets free money for doing no work for breakfast. He gets free money for doing no work for lunch. He gets free money for doing no work for dinner. And in between, you're using treats to train your dog. You're not going to get the results that you're looking for because your dog will cop out on the behaviors that you want when there's sufficient distractions. So it should be that your dog finds the advantage in doing the behavior, and through repetition, he loves it because he's going to receive his existential food, rather than the dog thinking that, man, I don't really like this and I don't want to do it because when I get home, I know I'm going to get my paycheck anyway. So why do I have to listen to him in distractions? I'm going to do what I want, and when I get home, I'm going to get money anyway. That is not working in existential food. And I do have clients that come to my weekend classes and I ask them, when was the last time your dog ate? Oh, Robert, my dog always works for food. And then when we start to do repetitions and we start to pressure the dog, and the dog is looking at a squirrel, the dog is looking at another dog, the owner is repeating himself, then the dog doesn't want the food on the field. That's behavior problems right there. The dog is ignoring the owner, doesn't want the money for the food. It's not concentrating on his task, and you're not working in existential food. So it's very important to work in existential food, meaning that throughout the day is an opportunity to receive your paycheck, but you're never going to get food for free. So when you want to work in sufficient distractions, there needs to be an advantage for your dog to want to listen to you, and that's the money system, that's the food, that's the paycheck. That's the best way, and we can communicate to the dog to stay on your task. Dogs that get pressured to do commands and they like, I don't want to do this, that's how you get behavior problems, and that's not working in the existential food because the dog has the hope that he would get free money in your house, and now you're doing trick dog training where when there's sufficient distractions, the dog doesn't see an advantage to want to listen to you. I would rather not listen to you under the hope that at home he's going to receive a big bag of money. So when we're dog training, we don't have breakfast, lunch, or dinner. If the dog is listening to us throughout the day, we're going to reward the dog with food, with the money. That's working in existential food. So it's not that, oh, my dog always takes treats, he's always food motivated. No, your dog has to eat the food under pressure. The moment there's pressure for the commands, meaning you're in sufficient distractions and you're asking the dog to sit, the dog doesn't want to sit, you put food in front of the dog's face, the dog ignores it to look at what it wants to look at, that's not training in existential food, and that's how you get behavior problems. And A lot of people that I find, they train that way and then they get frustrated and then they say that their dog is stubborn. Well, your dog is not stubborn. Your dog is learning not to listen to you because when he gets home, he's going to get a big bag of money anyway, and that is not obedience training. So it's very important to work in existential food and understand that there are consequences for when the dog doesn't listen. So in positive reinforcement, if the dog doesn't listen, you withhold the food. So that would be the basics of obedience training in positive reinforcement, and that would be your first set of consequences among many. If you don't listen, I'm not going to pay you. You get no money, you get no paycheck. That's working in existential food. This is what's going to increase your dog's concentration, and this is the path towards obedience training.